She's here. My wee little book, I Hope So How to Choose Hope Even When It's Hard, has made her way into the world as of February 10th. I'm so excited to be able to share this work with you. The research, the strategy behind why choosing hope is absolutely what we need to be doing right now as a collective. It's time to get our hopes up. Now, as a wee little side note, it's not lost on me that this book, I Hope So, is coming out at the 30th year anniversary of my car accident when I was 16 years old. To think, fast forward 3 decades from that night, that I would be in a position to be able to share this work with the world is truly special. I hope you have a chance to check it out. I would welcome your comments. If you're feeling so inspired, please leave a review. That is so helpful for authors for reviews. So please feel free to do so if that seems like a fit. And again, it's just, when I think back that, 30 years ago, where I was to where I get to be right now, I'm really, really glad I got my hopes up back then. And I'm really excited to be able to help you get your hopes up too. Thanks for listening. Take good care. Welcome to Life by Design. I'm your host, Robyne, and I am thrilled to welcome you to this space for real conversations about how we live, how we show up day in and day out, because the quality of our life is shaped by our habits. What we do in ordinary time allows us to be extraordinary. We can unpack what it takes to truly live well and be well in real life. Welcome to Life by Design. And I'm just so excited that you're here. Welcome back to Life by Design. Today, I'm thrilled to share with you an interview with the one and only Rory Vaden. Now, he is a New York Times bestselling author. He is an 8-figure entrepreneur, Hall of Fame speaker, TEDx with over 5 million views. He also is part of the group Brand Builders Group with his wife and co-founder, AJ Vaden. And let me tell you, this is like pulling back the curtain on how you can take that calling on your heart to be of service and turn it into a business. He also gave a very, very generous offer to all of the listeners. So be sure to check out that. Again, please tune into this episode with the one and only Rory Vaden. This was a treat. I might have ended up in tears, but the good kind. Hello, everyone. I am over the moon to be able to welcome our next guest. The one and only Rory Vaden has joined us today on Life by Design. Rory, thank you so much for making time for this.
Oh yes, it's my pleasure, Dr. Robin. I've heard so many great things about you. I love the work that you're doing. So to get a chance to be part of your audience for a hot minute, I'm excited.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm here for this. So thank you so very much. Now, Rory, I came across your work back and I believe it was 2012 with Take the Stairs. And I love so many parts about that book. And then seeing these other iterations of your career when you started to explore the pieces around performance and productivity and that intersection between how we're kind of doing what we're doing, where we want to get to go, how we define success. And then with your latest book that's co-authored with your wife, it's so special. This idea about like wealthy and known, like it's your work has had this spectacular arc, which is just so beautiful to witness and to also to be able to learn alongside you as you're bringing this great information into the world. So thank you again for being here. And there's just so many different things I'm excited to talk about with you today.
Yeah, well, thank you. And it's interesting because it's been an awesome ride and a little bit of a wild journey. And sometimes people go, "What's the through line to all of that?" Right?
Yeah.
Because Take the Stairs is really about the psychology of overcoming procrastination and increasing self-discipline. Then my second book, and I had a TED Talk go viral that was about how to multiply time.
Yeah. Or
And then
5 million, like 5 million views, like
yeah, yeah,
wild.
yeah. And then the work we do now at Brand Builders Group, which is we work with some of the biggest personal brands in the world, as well as people who are just starting out, mission-driven messengers. And the through line is actually influence, right? So
Mhm.
I would consider my area of study as the psychology of influence. And
Mhm.
so uh, I look at 4 levels of influence. So level 1 is being able to influence yourself.
Yes.
and go, how do I get myself to take action? Level 2 would be influencing another person, which is actually would be sales. That was our first company was a sales training company my wife and I built to 8 figures. We had some other partners. We sold that. Then level 3 influence is influencing a group of people, which would be like leadership and multiplying time and the work we've done there. And then level 4 influence is influencing a community, like creating a movement, which is really what we do, today at Brand Builders Group and our various clients, John Maxwell, Lewis Howes, and Eric Thomas, and Amy Porterfield, and Cody Sanchez. These clients are people who are really creating a movement in the world. But it all comes back to that psychology of how do you get yourself and other people to do things you don't want to do? And the metaphor that, started it all was Take the Stairs, which was that first book. So it's fun to meet someone who's familiar with the whole arc of everything we've done.
Yeah. And I can share with you as a behaviorist, one of the things that really stands out in your work is there's a degree, first and foremost, that it's very research informed. Like these aren't hype cycles. These aren't just kind of like ideas that maybe would work in a one-off scenario. Because they're research informed, they're generalizable, and we see results. Like people can onboard to these different approaches, and we see that they are able to start to achieve some of these amazing goals. And the other through line that I also see looking at your work as an outsider is that you've never deviated from the value system. Like it's all about trust. This isn't about manipulation. This isn't about like some of the things that unfortunately in some of these spaces when we talk about influence, there's this idea that it's coming from a little bit of a shady a shady origin. But what you're describing is that in value alignment, like when we operate from that place of trust and like really are committed to helping people see this value add. And this isn't just like getting people to buy things, it's about like really helping people find these unlocks. Like, I think that's what makes you so, just so many people are learning from you and it works. And also that is there's authenticity piece that you have absolutely stayed true to who you are and what you're about as you've had these evolutions in your thinking and your writing.
Well, thank you for that. And, this most recent book that I wrote, co-authored with AJ, so it was my 5th book, but her first, and we co-authored it. One of our deepest held beliefs and also an observable data point in what has helped us make money and help other people make money is we really believe that the best marketing in the world is a changed life.
Yes.
And so whether you come at it from an altruistic perspective, as we do in our clients, as I mentioned, we call our clients mission-driven messengers, these people who want to make a difference in the world. You go, yeah, we want to make a difference in the world, not because we want money or because we want fame or we need to feel important, but because we get satisfaction of seeing other people succeed and actually creating a result. But it turns out that is the best revenue generating strategy as well, is to go, I'm not just trying to sell stuff to people. Like in our world, the sale isn't made when a transaction takes place. The sale happens when the result has been experienced by the person on the other end. And I say sale, like a sale could certainly be like a business, transaction, but even with yourself, right? It's like it's not the moment you set the goal that really matters. It's the moment that you achieve the goal. And it's so that the transformation actually has to kind of manifest and come to completion. And that's where we think all the fun is and where all the action is going. Like, how do we get real results in our own life? What really moves the needle? And to your point, the more when people get to know me in real life, I think they're often shocked at how much of a nerd I am. Like,
I love it.
I am such a spreadsheet person. I have one of my friends got me a t-shirt for Christmas that says I love spreadsheets, because it's just like we're so into the data.
Yes.
And that's because we're trying to as you say, we're trying to find things that change lives, including our own lives in every area. So, I think that's where we are super aligned with you.
Yeah, which is just absolutely remarkable. And as somebody who loves a good data informed decision, like it's one of those things where, and I often talk about when, just to riff for a moment is, when, just recently I was supporting a large group and, they were navigating some, difficult change seasons. And I asked the leader after, I kind of pulled him aside during this workshop and I said, Was your like the reason you did this change, the reason you implemented this change? I'm like, are you good with it? And he looked at me and he goes, "Yeah, Robin, I'm so good with the reason why we're doing this." And I said, "Okay, my invitation, could you go back into that room and tell the people your reason? Because as long as your reason is good, it's a reasoned approach and you can share again, it's not just always about the data, but it's like it's the heart in the data we often talk about that what is that showing you? Like we're going to have a difficult season right now with we're, navigating this change, but what you're able to show with really solid data is that where this is going to put us, the trajectory that where this particular organization is on, this is going to be that messy middle. But because your reasons are so good and the data is backing it up, they're going to be in a better place. Like it's going to be good. And again, I love this component to what you're describing about using our data, making good ideas, nerding out, so to speak, on some of that. That's a beautiful place to be, and it actually can help us weather some of those difficult seasons, those difficult moments when we are building and co-creating futures.
Yeah, totally. And ultimately, it's not about data, it's about people, right? But
Yes.
data is proof in many
Yeah.
ways, or data points to the proof to go, yeah,
Yeah.
this isn't just an opinion. This is actually something, and it's not just about, oh, marketing and sales and business. It's going, what are the things that move the needle in people's relationships and in
Yes.
their spiritual walk and in their
Yeah.
health, and going, let's spend our time exploring truth rather
Yeah.
than what's popular or what's viral or what's convenient or what's comfortable. We use the metaphor of the escalator world for all of that. Like
Yes.
most of the world is seeking convenience and comfortable and ease and
Mhm.
popular. And we're going, no, if you look at everyone who's been successful in any walk of life, health, finances, business, leadership, personal relationships, success isn't about taking the escalator.
Ever.
Success is about taking the stairs,
Yes.
doing the things that other people aren't willing to do. And it's not complicated. It's not easy, but it is simple.
Yeah.
And the sooner that people get into that mindset of going, I'm going to stop wasting time looking for shortcuts. I'm going to stop
Yes.
wasting time trying to find the magic potion or the secret pill. And I'm going to instead just lock in on truth. And I'm going to
Yeah.
lock in on proof. And I'm going to lock
Yeah.
in on data. And I'm going to lock in on what actually works. Then you can get busy doing what needs to be
Yeah.
done to transform your life. And it works in every part of your life. And
Yeah.
that's, you know, just really inspiring to watch when that happens for people.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm so curious that belief system. And I remember a line, and I had underlined it in your book, and then I went back to try and find it. And I believe it was attributed to your mom, where you said, enjoyment isn't a requirement for doing the thing.
Yeah, that's a true story. It is for my mom because
Oh my goodness. I
it's
love a good
100% my mom.
yeah.
So I was
Please
raised
tell
by
me
a
about it.
single mom,
Yes.
and my mom's got a wild story. She had been she got pregnant when she was in high school, was divorced twice by the time she was 22, and had two kids from two different fathers and no college education. And so she was always like, you're going to be the first in our family to go to college, and you're going to
Yeah.
do this, and you're going to do that. And so she put me in martial arts when I was 5 years old. And so by the time I was 10, like when I was doing martial arts, I didn't like it
Fair.
because, I remember I was in this tournament and I lost to a girl, which is okay, but like wasn't like my favorite thing, right? And I was
Dude,
just like,
it's not okay.
I
The little
know I don't
ego
like
of it.
this. This
Yes.
isn't fun for me.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, that's okay because enjoying it isn't a requirement of doing it. And I'm so grateful for that lesson because we learn that as kids, but then we become these sophisticated, intelligent adults. And all too quickly, we lose sight of that all important truth that enjoying it has nothing to do with doing it. They're completely independent, like irrespective things. And you go, the most successful people in the world and in business are not focused with enjoyment. They're focused on doing what needs to be done. And one of the other, I'd say, most significant paradigm shifts that comes from that Take the Stairs book is something that we call the pain paradox,
Yes.
which says that easy short-term choices lead to difficult long-term consequences, and inversely, difficult short-term choices lead to easy long-term consequences. So the message of Take the Stairs is not, hey, make your life as hard as possible, grit your way through all this stuff that sucks, just like have iron will. No, the goal is to make your life as easy as possible, but it's predicated upon an unpopular premise, but a true one that says the shortest way, the most guaranteed way, the most definite way to the easy life is to do the hardest parts of things as soon as possible. And that's it's why we use the metaphor take the stairs. It's such a practical, external sort of reminder of these internal choices that we make each and every day that lead to a better, easier, more fulfilled, happier life. But it doesn't mean that it's all, sunshine and rainbows along the way.
100%. And as a behaviorist, like my heart is smiling because when I'm working with teams and groups, like one of the things we often talk about is this idea about like, all behavior serves a purpose, right? It's either getting us closer to our goal or farther away. Like as the human condition, we will not do a behavior that doesn't serve a purpose. Again, but it could be kind of in alignment with where we're trying to get to, or it could actually be getting us farther away. And, when I'm talking to groups where we talk about this idea of like, do you have bad habits? And of course, we all have what we would consider less than optimal habits. And the idea is like, well, are your bad habits hard to do? Like literally, if you actually like unpacked it, is it hard to do it? And most people are like, no, it's pretty easy to do it. And it brings immediate relief or immediate something. And it's like, yeah, well, bad habits work on bad days. That's why they're so easy to execute. And when you talk about like taking the stairs and also just all of these pieces around procrastination and discipline and what success is, what I try to help people see is that the reason bad habits work on any day is because they're designed to be easy to execute. And if all of a sudden we do just that wee bit of that pattern interrupt where we realize that, okay, these new habits, the ones that are going to get me closer to goals, the ones that are like taking the stairs or those disciplined practices of doing the hard parts first, what's quite interesting is that when we start to build our day by design to be able to do that and be able to be okay in that discomfort, and our habits that are going to get us closer to our goals are designed to be able to be executed on any day, not just on good days, we start to see real results for people where all of a sudden they're like, wow. And so often I know when people reflect back and they're like, okay, Robyne, like, 99% of the time you're good, right? Like 1% is pretty much, my status quo of not being so good. They said, well, what do you do? And I'm like, you're not going to like the answer because it's not exciting. It is boring. It is not like how I design my day. It is in that principle that it just makes things make sense in terms of where I'm going, Rory. But also, and I tell folks, it's like my non-negotiables. I'm walking. I'm not looking at screens first thing in the morning. Like I'm saying my prayers. I'm drinking my coffee with like, they're not glamorous, right? They're not these like, oh, I've never heard of that before. But the consistency compounds, right? The consistency compounds. And all of a sudden, you're on a, 1,100-day streak of walking every morning and your life is radically transformed and you're healthier than you've ever been. And people are like, oh, what pill did you take? Or what did you do? It's like, I literally have walked every single morning, rain, shine, snow, or sleet. And it's not fun. It's not glamorous, but oh my gosh, you get results when you lock in on what matters most and you make it matter
And
most.
I think that's it right there. It's going, average people want today to be enjoyable. Ultra performers want the long term to be enjoyable, right? Like what's exciting is the result. And it's, I've thought about this before. That was almost like if I had to like boil my whole life's work down or something into one sentence, it would probably be think long term. Like, I think that's the single biggest difference between ultra performers and average performers, as they think long term. And even if you fast forward to what we do now at Brand Builders Group, where we help experts and entrepreneurs become more wealthy and well known. Well, one of the things that we tell people is that the shortest path to your uniqueness is to serve the person you once were. You're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were. So in doing the things you don't want to do, in becoming a person that's different than you once were, in overcoming obstacles, pushing past problems, triumphing over tragedies, conquering challenges, it actually is what gives you the credibility to one
Yes.
day look back and help somebody else. And we would argue that your real credibility doesn't come from your degrees
Yeah.
or your media citations or how many followers you have. It comes from the fact that you have walked the path, that you have personally survived the struggle, that you have actually achieved the objective and the result. I'm in the middle of leading a 3-day training right now on becoming a best-selling author, and people, it blows their minds when they hear we've had 100 of our clients become national best-selling authors. As of yesterday, 23 of our clients have become New York Times bestselling authors.
Wow.
Like, the hardest of the
Yeah.
hard things.
To crack.
And it's like, how do you do that? It's like, we're serving the person we once were. Like, I once was a broke first-time author in my 20s with no money and no fame and no notoriety and no connections and no publishers. And yet we figured out how to pull that off through a system of trust and activating our own network
Yes.
rather than trying to sell to strangers.
Yes.
And we've been able to replicate that again and again. Well, the credibility comes from the fact that we're not talking in theory. We're serving the person that we once were. And again, it's this amazing divine intersection between giving my life purpose to go, all of the pain that I endured was preparing me and shaping me and making me and molding me, not just into a great person with a great life of my own results, but it set the stage for me to have a purpose in life, serving other people and helping other people overcome these obstacles. And it turns out that in addition to incredible purpose, it's incredibly profitable.
Exactly.
It's this incredibly powerful business model to go, I can serve people tactically and teach them exactly what to do, how to do it, when to do it. Here's the tools you need to do it, because I was willing to become someone who endured pain and made sacrifices. And it's just like the most mind-blowing thing to go, oh my gosh, every difficult thing I went through created this beautiful opportunity to serve other people and create, commerce and money and revenues. It's wild.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's beautiful, as my Canadian friends say. It's just beautiful.
It is quite beautiful. I can share with you again personally, like this week we happened to be dropping the third book, and I was so I saw your workshop.
So
I hope
everybody,
so.
available now.
But what was so remarkable is having the conversations that book has now unlocked. And, so again, it just so happened and quite serendipitous. And I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in these like perfect designed divine connections, that as this wee book is making its way into the world, Rory, it's 30 years since my like pretty catastrophic car accident that I had at 16 that really became this like turning point. It changed the trajectory of my life as somebody who went from, dropped out of high school, like somebody who was going through a very dark season of mental health, emotional health, and despair. And all of a sudden you have this, this miracle in motion, right? You all of a sudden are spared. You are given a second chance that you did not deserve. Yet somehow the world says we're not done with you yet, Robyne. And 3 decades later, I'm studying the science of hope and what that looks like. And so to me, this is just this beautiful relationship between what you're describing. And, so when just this week I'm sitting in a room with these 50 amazing women and we're having a tea party as a book launch strategy, Rory, because where there is tea, there is hope, which is an amazing quote from a playwright, Arthur Wing Boehm, back in 1800s. It's the fact sitting around with a room of these amazing women who are talking about what they're hoping for and realizing you're absolutely right. Like there's been a blueprint that I've seen myself personally that I can speak truth to, but I've also seen it around the world that we are allowed to get our hopes up, especially when things feel rough and scary and unpredictable, because the world right now is really overwhelming. And the fact that the greatest thing that we can do is get our hopes up again. It is to be prosperous. It is to be of service, because I do believe that's the antidote to what happens, because the divisiveness and the fear, when we're operating in that fear plane, nothing good happens. But when we can come above the line, Rory, and like you're giving people a blueprint how to do that, to be in a place of building futures that are prosperous, and it's okay to be successful in our own way. Like I just appreciate the language that you put onto this experience.
Yeah, I think it's some people might hear hope as like a soft skill or like, oh, that's kind of like warm and fuzzy or
Yeah.
wishy-washy, but I go, it's super tactical. Like the
Wildly tactical.
you can you the amount of our endurance is directly proportionate to the clarity of our vision,
Yes.
right? So you leverage long-term vision as a mechanism to endure short-term sacrifice.
Yes.
Like the clearer I can see the future I want to create, the more crap I'm willing to endure to make it real. That's
Yeah,
hope, right?
exactly.
That's it's just going, it's a vision, it's a desire, it's a prayer, but it's a clear picture of what I want the future to look like. If I lose that hope, if I lose that vision, or I don't spend time thinking about it, or I don't allow myself to see that, then what I'm left with is a natural default of the human design to what feels good right now, what is
Exactly.
comfortable right now, what is safe right now, which tends to be a bunch of indulgent type behaviors, right? So
Yeah.
you always pay a price. You either pay the price now, today, or you pay it later with interest.
Yeah.
Like that never changes. You can't go through life without paying a price. You're going to pay the price one way or the other. But somebody with hope has a picture of a future that
Yes.
allows them, it creates the context for them to continue making sacrifices. It pulls them through the muck. Someone who loses hope, right? This is suicide, right? Oh,
Yeah.
at the most extreme is to
Yeah.
go, I don't see a reason for existing tomorrow. I don't see a picture of the future that is better than I have now.
Yes.
So all I see in the future is a worse version of what I'm experiencing now. So why bother being here?
Yeah.
It's a very practical thing, and you can teach it in a leadership function of
Yes.
going, yeah, we have to create, the company has to be clear about articulating the future we're trying to create for ourselves
Mhm.
and for our customers and for our team. And on an individual level, people have to create, give themselves the space and the permission to create. And I think one of the things everyone needs to be careful of is, the human brain is not designed for success. The human brain is designed for survival.
That's right.
The human brain is designed to keep us safe. And so anytime I set a new goal, anytime I create a new resolution, the first thing that shows up in my mind is self-doubt.
Yes.
When I said, oh, I want to become a Hall of Fame speaker, the first thought is, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Why do you think you could do that? You're not capable of that. You've never done that. You don't know anyone who's ever done that before.
Yeah.
And that doesn't, when self-doubt shows up, that doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It doesn't mean that you're doomed, like, because your brain isn't wired the right way. It means your brain is wired perfectly. Your brain
Exactly.
is trying to keep you safe. It's trying to keep you comfortable. It's trying to keep you alive. And how do you stay alive? You stay alive by doing things that are comfortable, predictable, things that you've done again and again,
That we know
which is
yeah.
the opposite of how you become successful. How do you
Yeah.
become successful? By taking risks, by learning new things, by
Yeah.
challenging yourself and doing things that are uncomfortable. So you just got to realize there's nothing wrong with your brain, but your brain does have to be programmed to think differently. That's what we try to do with our books. And in our second book about multiplying time, we say the next level of results always requires the next level of thinking.
Yes.
If you don't consciously train your brain to process choices differently, then you will unconsciously process them in the same default that you always had. And so you'll keep doing the things you always do, and you get the results you've always gotten. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's tactical.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that reframe. And you're absolutely like, we see it is so strategic. And I love when people say, like, oh, Robyne, hope is not a strategy. And I as soon as I meet that resistor, I'm like, yes, because this is going to be an amazing conversation, because you are now going to have an opportunity to have an advantage that you didn't have before this conversation. So I absolutely love when people are a wee bit skeptical about it. And then when you show them physiologically, spiritually, psychologically, why this is going to be something completely different than what you've experienced before and unlock what you're hoping to achieve. It's a pretty amazing experience to
Hope is the only strategy. Like,
yes.
hope is the only strategy. If
Yeah.
you don't have hope for a brighter future, you're never going to endure the pain of changing the behavior that needs to be changed today. Like,
Yes. Yeah.
and what could be more clear of a strategy? A strategy is, an insight that you have to improve things. So it's like,
Exactly.
if you don't have hope, then it's like you don't have anything.
Yeah, agreed wholeheartedly. And there's two threads that I want to pull on. One is what you were saying about this idea that we adapt so quickly, and if we aren't intentional about it, we will regress back to our old patterns. And so interesting, because one of the things we talk about in my work, kind of twofold. One is the idea around hedonic adaptation, which means that as soon as we achieve a goal, it essentially, as we all know, it feels good for maybe a short period of time, right? Whether it's like you get that car, or you're able to have that really deep connection with a loved one, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, this relationship is leveling up. Like, whatever that is, that goal, you achieve it. And we know that the benefit or the experience is relatively short-lived, right? Like, it's like that felt good, and then our brain's kind of like, what's next? And we actually know the process and the journey is where we have these really great consistent feelings. But what's so fascinating is that hedonic adaptation says that when we get to that place, we're like, okay, that was cool. I established my goal, right? I got that first book published, or I was able to make my first X, whatever it is. What's amazing is your brain now says that's your new baseline. That's why we don't stay satisfied there. Our brain literally is like, okay, yeah, Rory, you are a world-class speaker.
Yeah,
Now
that's the new normal.
it's your new normal, absolutely. And the fact that what we're doing is we're creating this evidence basis where it's like, I am somebody who can do hard things. I am somebody who can take risks. I am someone who can do this. And our identity starts to change. And then all of a sudden it opens up even more opportunity to level up, skill up, energize up, which is just, again, it's so remarkable to be able to help people get there and to see that. And so when people are like, oh, I don't, what's the point? I'm not really satisfied. It's like, the point is that you literally are changing your default settings for better.
Yeah, and
That's a pretty cool thing.
it's such a cool thing. And here's another tactical, like another tactic. If
Yeah.
somebody's like, okay, how do I like execute this right
Yeah.
now? Okay, so this also comes from the Take the Stairs book, our first book, and it's so simple, it's easy to overlook this. But what most people do is they ask, is this possible? Could I pull this off? Or they'll say, their brain will just say, that's not possible. I couldn't
Right.
do that. That's not for me. That's kind of like an underperformer, right? They've really got negative self-talk. That's not most people. Most people, their brain is like, I don't know, is that possible? Like, could that be possible? The ultra performer's brain is 1 degree different, and they've trained themselves to think this way. And it's not necessarily the like, I can do anything, I'm
Yes.
the best, I'm the
Yeah.
greatest. It's not that. It's but it is a degree different. And so you have to shift to asking the question, how?
Yeah.
So you don't say, is this possible? You say, how could this be possible? What would it take for that to have to come true? Right? Like, okay, we've got inside a brand builders group, it's crazy. We started the company because we were helping Lewis House. He was our very first client, and we've been working with
That's
Lewis
so
since
cool.
2018, and he's just exploded, right?
Yeah.
And then we've gotten introduced to all these other people, and we've grown our own business and leveled up. But a lot of the people, most of our clients, like over 90% of our clients, are in the new to intermediate stage. They're making six figures, but it's low six figures. Well, when you're making $100,000 a year, $1 million a year feels impossible. So what's happened though is we've just had our 13th client who is making $1 million a year more than what they were making when they started with us.
Yes, Rory. That's
It's
awesome.
crazy. And it's
Yeah.
it's so cool. And it's because they're around a community of people who are all saying, how, right? So if you make $100,000 a year and you go $1 million a year, that's impossible. Well, the moment you say that, you have created a prison of your own construction, a life
Yes.
sentence, if you will, for staying stuck where you are. Now, I'm not going to say anyone can make $1 million a year. I don't think that's necessarily true. But the point is, you don't have to reach a conclusion either way. The
Right.
point is, ask it as a question. What would have to happen for me to make $1 million a year? Like, if it were going to happen, how would it happen? Like, what would that look like? And when you open that as a question, it's kind of like, the reticular activating system engages, your brain
Yeah.
processes on this question until one day, boom, the answer comes, the relationship happens, the door opens up, you learn the key insight, you find the right coach, mentor,
Yeah.
community, and like it unlocks, like it is an unlock. But if you're not asking the right question, if you already come to the conclusion it's not possible, then you're not open. Your eyes are blind to seeing an answer because you already decided that one doesn't exist. And so that gets super actionable by going, how could this be? How could this be possible?
Yeah.
How could I do this? What would it take?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that one little
Shift.
1 degree shift can
Yeah.
change the trajectory of your whole life.
Yeah. Rory, absolutely. I love everything about this. And can I give you just a quick little story? Can I share a quick little story with you? It's okay. So for folks who are familiar with work, like I have three teenagers, well, old young adults at this point, and I remember Hunter, my oldest. He was at the time in his senior year of high school. Okay, and he is this like very talented basketball player. That was been his identity, and with a wee bit of football. And he calls me one day, Rory, and he goes, "Mama, I'm going to Scotland." And I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "I'm going to play rugby." And I was like, "Dude, you don't play rugby." And he's like, "But," he goes, "But mama, I made the senior team and they're taking me for this tune up to go to rugby, like to play rugby in Scotland." And he said, "How hard could it be?" And I'm like, "Really effing hard, Hunter. Like, this is a contact sport. Like, this is gonna be something else." And he's just like, "I got it." Like, he's like, "No, it's good." He's like, the coaches got me and, it'll be good." So sure enough, Rory, he goes with his team, senior team, they go to this tune up. And I love the fact that it's like, Hunter, they're tuning up skills they have. Like, you don't necessarily have the like baseline of the sport, but God bless you, kid, you go and do it. And anyway, so sure enough, he FaceTimes me after the second match and he calls me and he says, like, "Mama, let me tell you, I was so much better in the second game." And he's like, but literally, he did this thing because the way his brain looked at this opportunity was like, how hard could it be? Right? Like, I will put the pieces. I don't need to know everything. I know enough. I
Totally.
trust in myself enough that I can figure this out. And so often I could share with you because he's one of my best teachers. There's so many, as I'm exploring my own career and my own opportunities, I sometimes do my best to like, again, recognize I'm the thinker, I'm not the thought. So the thought that pops up and that says like, "Robyne, why should you or should you do this? Or why do you think you ought to do this?" I bring myself back to say, okay, that was just the thought. I'm the thinker, which means I can think other things. I don't have to just follow that. It's not a driver. It's not a directive. It's simply just an idea. And I shift it. And so often I have said, how hard could it really be? Right? Like really like how, because as you said, they're blueprints. There's people who have done this before. And when you get with the right coach, with the right group like yourselves and AJ, like this is how we can do it. Like it doesn't have to be this hard when we know the right steps to take and we execute the discipline and the commitment to follow through.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is from a guy named Andy Andrews, who's been like a kind of a mentor over the years, and he has this such a simple quote, but he says, um, "Everything doesn't make sense right up until the moment that it finally does."
So
Right?
true.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's like you don't, and that's true about our identity, right? It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm not, I could never be a healthy person until the day I wake up and start being healthy. And I'm like, oh, now I am a healthy person,
That's right.
right? Like, oh, I could never be a best-selling author until like, and you literally are not a best-selling author
Until you
until the
are.
moment it happens. And it's like, oh, now I'm a best-selling author. So
Yeah.
it's like, there's not, it's not, it happens in this moment of like decision almost to
Yes.
go, who you were yesterday has nothing to do with who you choose to be today.
Right.
Like yesterday, I could have been an alcoholic. Yesterday, I could have been an abuser. Yesterday, I could have been a liar. Yesterday, I could have been unhealthy. Like yesterday, I could have not been good at speaking. Yesterday, I could have not been good at sales. Yesterday, I was a bad parent. Yesterday, I was a bad
Yeah.
husband. Yesterday, I was a bad leader. But today, I'm different.
Yeah.
Today, I learned something and I'm doing something different. Like, and it's as simple as that. That you go, oh, I can decide who I'm going to be. I can recreate who I'm going to be, and that's the amazing thing about kids, right? Like your story about Hunter is such a great one because you go, innately that's who we are
Yes.
until we program it out of ourselves, or the world
Yeah.
programs it out of ourselves to be like, you can't play rugby, right? Like
Yeah.
you're not a rugby player. Like why do
Right.
you think you can play rugby, right?
Exactly.
We're the ones who place that limitation inside of people. In some ways, it that deep down is like, oh yeah, I could figure that out, right? Like every
Mhm.
fourth grader is like, do you know the answer? Who knows the answer to this? And they all are like, oh, I do,
Yeah.
I do.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
and then we're like, you don't know what you're doing. Put your hand down. And so we
Yeah.
have to learn all that.
100%. And that unlearning, right? I think what I hear you saying there that's so important is the fact that like again, we are not our environments, yet we do pick up programming along the way. And sometimes it's actually a pretty amazing opportunity to start to ask ourselves, maybe there's some unlearning and there's some letting go and to make room for the good stuff, right?
And if you
To
have
make
big
room for
goals,
next.
there's a lot of unlearning to do, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not normal to be a millionaire. It's
Yeah.
not normal to be healthy. It's not normal to have a great marriage. It's not
Yeah.
normal to have great relationships. Like it's normal to have struggle and pain, and we live in a
Yeah.
world because of sin. Like we live
Yes.
in a broken, fallen
Yeah.
world. So it's like you have to get unusual results. You have to have unusual behaviors. You have to have
Yes.
unusual thinking. You have to be surrounded by other unusual people, right? Like
Yes.
you have to be around a different set of people to become a different person and learn from people who've actually done it. Otherwise, you're just going to become, like the environment. So, but
Yes.
you can do that and you can make those changes. Um, Not simple, but easy and doable. So, and by the way, so if anybody is listening to this, Dr. Robin, and they go, you know what, I do have a calling on my life that I want to share my story with more people. Like I have been through some struggle, and
Yes.
I feel like I should be sharing that story, and I should be serving the person I once was. If that idea, you're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were, resonates with you, and you go, man, I've always thought I should write a book, or I should be speaking more, or something. You can actually request a call with our
Mhm.
company, and we do the first call for free. So
Yeah.
if you go to freebrandcall.com/life by design, all right? So
Mhm.
freebrandcall.com/life by design, you can do the first call with our team for free, and we'll want to like hear a little bit about the calling you have, understand how far you are along in your journey. And yeah, we work with everybody from brand new beginner all the way to like John Maxwell and, the biggest names in the world. But we believe that if there's a calling on your heart to share your story, then we believe that's the result of a signal that's being sent out by somebody else.
Yes.
And that person needs you more than you need them.
Yeah.
Like for us, it's like, ooh, this could be a fun goal or a fun, maybe a new business or a new way to make money. But for them, they're like seeking and searching and begging and pleading and could quite possibly literally be on their hands and knees praying for answers to questions that you know like the back of your hand because you've gone through the thing that they're facing now. And so that's where, again, we believe there's this divine design of your identity that every struggle you've been through is a part of preparing you for the person you needed to be for somebody else. So anyways, if you're in that season of life, go to freebrandcall.com/life by design. We'd love to talk to you, kind of hear that story, because you're a great example of that, Dr. Robyne. Like you're teaching people and helping people go through the journey that you went through all those years ago. And it's like, that's why it works, because it's real and it's substantive. It's not fake. It's not artificial, to use a word, right? It's real.
Yeah. Rory, thank you so much. And just so you know, like there are so many people that I get to work with who say, Robyne, like I want to be able to do what you're doing, to share my story. So for you opening that up for the listeners. And again, there's so many people that are like, their faces are just popping up in my mind right now about like, oh my gosh, I want to make sure to send this to these people. I want to send this to Natalie. I want to send this to Brenda. I want to send it to these people who I know this is that opportunity for them to get world-class coaching. And again, that call could be the difference that just unlocks things for people we don't even know yet. And I just appreciate the generosity of you and your team to hold space for the people that are feeling that call in their heart. And it's okay to be able to build a lifestyle and a livelihood from this place. That, it's okay that we're able to take some of these setbacks and, it sets us up to be, as you say, well positioned to serve the person that we once were. So Rory, thank you so very much to you and to your team for making that available for our listeners, but also just the degree of like authenticity. You show up on the call, off the call, on the stage, off the stage, in the book, out of the book. Like you're the real deal. And it gives me so much hope and encouragement knowing that there's people in this industry who are doing it right. So from the absolute bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you so very much. Please keep shining bright because you are a lighthouse for so many of us. So thank you. And I hope this will be the first of many conversations.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And prayers to you, Dr. Robyne, and everybody who's listening. And if you're going through a hard time right now, that's not going to be the rest of your life. This is just the season that's preparing you for the best of your life. So hang on and keep tuning in.
Amen. Thank you for spending time with me on this episode of Life by Design. I appreciate if you have a moment to pay this forward, share it with someone who you think might benefit from the ideas shared in this episode. If you're feeling so inspired, please also rate and review the podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Again, thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. Take good care, and I'll see you next time.